Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Patricia Monna Intuitive Consulting. This month I have the lovely Susan Reynolds with me for her astrological and psychic predictions for the month of September 2024. So thank you so much for joining us, Susan, once again. How have you been?
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm going to apologize to everybody up front. I am dealing with some sort of allergic reaction to, I don't know if it's ragweed or something I'm exposed to, which is making my throat very scratchy and I'm coughing a little bit. Not sick, but I'm speaking more softly than usual. So I'm not trying out for 900 number sex line, not trying to be sexy, but I'm speaking a little more softly than usual. This is why. Um, September is another busy month, another exciting month.
Mhm.
Now, I know sometimes when I say exciting and busy, people are like, oh crap, I don't want it, I can't stand anymore. But this is just, I don't know if any of you felt this, but in July, we had a major energetic shift.
Yes.
And I could feel everything suddenly speeding up, time speeding up, events speeding up. There was this wave of energy that hit me, and it hit some other friends of mine that are intuitives and psychics. And for me, it's like it burned out my circuits for 2 days. Like for 48 hours, I couldn't pick up anything. It's like, what is this? Physically, I had to start to react to this new energy. And after a couple of days, I think I had absorbed it or gotten on solid footing, and I could start to pick up again. But if all of you are feeling that things are speeding up and going much faster, it's like making your head spin, that's literally true. That is not just something you think is happening. Time has speeded up. I can feel it. It's like I see it in my mind like a runaway freight train just going at 1,000 miles an hour. So it's like boom, 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 boom. And
You
we're going to
know,
see this nationally and internationally, but we're also going to see it in your own life, in your own personal life.
I was just gonna say, one of the little things that I look for to know that we've kind of shifted timelines, because it happens so subtly that people really honestly don't know it. It people think that we're gonna have something fall out of the sky or be hit over the head when we shift timelines. No, it's a subtle shift, that a vibration that pulls you up and then you acclimate to it. Well, in that period where you're getting used to the energy, it literally feels like you're being pulled all over the place. And how one of the little things that you can look for when you're feeling that being pulled all over the place, check your clocks. Because when we've shifted timelines, I've noticed that your clocks will be off. You can go from room to room and set them. I've got my computer, I've got my laptop, I've got my phone that are all Apple devices that should all be, in sync with each other because they're run by the same thing. And yeah, they're all off. They'll be off for a minute or off by a few seconds, where one changes and then the other one does a few seconds later, but they'll be slightly off. So anyone noticing that energy, that frantic go go go, time is speeding up sensation, check your clocks in your house.
Yeah, that's a good point because that happened in my house with my clocks. I didn't equate it to the time shift, but you are absolutely right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just one of the signs that I've noticed. And for I just thought I should mention this. If anybody has noticed, I'm not in my studio right now. I am actually in the heart of London, England, in my friend Carol's beautiful home. And I wanted to she's got the most gorgeous garden. So I thought, why not sit in front of the garden? It's absolutely stunning, and get that in the background. And I will say, this has been another huge bucket list adventure that has gone by extremely fast for me. Um, I left August 3rd to go and spend some more time with my mother's family, my family that I met through Ancestry.com. That ended up being one of those fairy tale, um, you know, I can't tell you how blessed I feel to have met my tribe, and it's it's just amazing. And so one of the cousins that I didn't get a chance to meet for the first time last year, I got a chance to spend some one-on-one time with her, um, doing my hair. So if anyone's noticed, no, my hair didn't grow 2 feet in a matter of a month. I had my amazing cousin, Nadia Benson, who does the most wonderful extensions, do my hair in Dublin. And I got a chance for 3 hours to sit one on one and get to know her. So that is why I have kind of altered my appearance. There was a little bit of a you know, I have to say, ulterior motive to me getting my hair done. I really wanted to spend time with her and get to know her. So that was amazing. And I'm doing a whole pile of ghost busting, and ghost hunting while I'm out here, communicating with other realms, working on some grids and connecting ley lines, activating different things. I'm doing a whole pile of things while I'm out here. So it really is a bucket list adventure. And before we jump into the meat and potatoes of the month ahead in September, I just wanted to finish off explaining what I'm doing out here, because every single day has been something that has blown my mind out here, or I really should write a book about it. Like the amount of blatant communication that we've gotten from spirits is just amazing. And they'll literally ask for you to pray for them. And you do, and they cross over. It's the coolest thing in the world. So anyways, went to Avery, did the stone circle blessings, and recharging my light, activating, some ley lines out there and stuff. And then on Thursday, I'm actually flying out to go and see the Hope Diamond. There is apparently the rumor that the Hope Diamond is cursed. And the Hope Diamond sits in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. And one of my mother's great great aunts is Evelyn Walsh McLean and Edward Beale McLean, who owned the Hope Diamond. And they had a tragic ending to their lives. It sounds like everybody did, from what I can gather from this stone. And so I want to go see it for myself. And I'll let you guys know in another video how that goes down. Haven't gotten there yet, but I'm heading there on Friday. I head to Washington Thursday, but we go and see the stone on Friday. And then on Saturday, I'm going to take the Gateway program at the Monroe Institute in Faber, Virginia. And so I'll do some lives out there and let you guys know how it's all going and what I've experienced, because it's a really cool journey and an amazing place to go. And Susan, you live so close to the Monroe Institute. I'd be living there if I were you.
As a young girl, as a schoolgirl, they took our class to Washington, D.C., and I saw the Hope Diamond. I was like 9, maybe 10.
Wow.
And I remember just being fascinated with it. Like I wasn't interested in any of the other jewelry. It's like something about the Hope Diamond just pulled me in. And I think you're going to feel it too. So I really want to hear about what you experience and what you feel and what you're working with this curse kind of thing and how that goes.
Yeah.
Because I was too young to understand what I was feeling, but I knew that that's where I was drawn to. I knew that's where I wanted to be. And there was something about that stone that pulled me in. So yeah, we tried to work it out so that we could meet up in Virginia at the Monroe Institute, but it didn't work out this time. I definitely want to go and take their Gateway program, maybe next year that you're taking now. So there may be other opportunities, but yeah, I have a lot of respect for the Monroe Institute, and I love what they are doing there. So I want to hear all about this. I want you to share everything.
I can't wait.
Next podcast we're on, I want to hear all about this.
Yes, I will for sure. I'll tell you everything, because yeah, it's quite the journey, and I just feel so called to do it. So I know that there's a mission, and that's the other cool thing. We were doing this spirit communication at the Avebury Gravediggers Cottage that we slept in the Gravediggers Cottage again. And it was really neat because the message that was coming through was, you're on a mission there's a crystal involved. Like it was talking about exactly what I'm doing. So it's just, yeah, I do. I feel like I've been led to experience this and help in whatever way I can, even if it's just to say a prayer. It did cross my mind that, is it, would they actually have it there? Or is that a fake? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Is that a fake stone? But then when I was in meditation, I downloaded the instructions on how to clear it. So I kind of think it is the original stone, but I'll know when I get
you'll
there.
know.
If
You'll
it's got,
know.
yeah, if it's got any negative energy or positive energy or energy at all, I'll totally be able to read the energy off of it because I know how to do psychometry as well as, doing photos because a photo is simply energy frozen in time. So I'll be able to see, I'll be able to feel it and hopefully connect with it because I really don't think that spirit would have given me the download on how to clear it if it wasn't supposed to, if I'm not supposed to do it, right? So
Wasn't the real thing.
yeah, yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
there's been a lot of attempts to steal it. So I'm thinking it's probably the real thing.
Well, I'm thinking
But
it's
you'll know.
probably got a lot of security, behind it. But I've read up on the history of it, and it's got the brutal history where people have died and been torn to pieces. Marie Antoinette wore it. She was beheaded. Napoleon had it. It was part of his Order of the Golden Fleece. It was used for bribery. It was actually part of England's crown jewels at one
Oh,
point.
okay.
Yeah. And so it's got quite the history. So I'll do a full video on what I know about it, what I experienced, and if I was successful or not. So anybody watching this, say a prayer for me. I'm gonna need as much light, and protection as I can bring in. So that would be
Will
awesome.
do. I
Yeah.
am so glad you're going. And like everybody else, I cannot wait to hear how this goes and what happens.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we should get into the meat and potatoes of what we're picking up for September. Did you want to go first?
Sure. In September, we have several planets changing signs and doing different things. And that just means there's a lot of activity, a lot of movement, a lot of things happening. And as above, so below. As all of these planets are doing all different kinds of things, our life may feel a little bit more unsettled. We may feel like we're pulled in multiple directions. One of the big news issues for September is that Mars is going to leave Gemini and is going to enter the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is about home and family.
Mhm.
Mars is forceful, it's dynamic, it's action oriented, it's angry sometimes, a little violent sometimes. We can look at this coming out in our personal life as it's a good time to work on your home. Do you need to replace the carpet, install new windows? Do you want to buy new furniture? Do you want to remodel the kitchen? Suddenly, we're going to be looking at our home in a different way. You're going to be paying more attention to it. What does it look like? Are you going to have company? Now, I don't have a lot of company. Everybody I know knows Susan doesn't want company. But the very rare times that I have company, I go through my house like a whirlwind, cleaning everything, shoving everything into closets. And most of us, I think, do that, give the house an extra good cleaning when we know somebody's going to come to stay. So it may be a time when you have family coming to visit you. You may go to visit them. But I'm also going to give everybody a little bit of a heads up. Mars and Cancer can bring up any issues of anger around your family.
Mm.
Now, maybe your family is the ideal family, completely functional. Everybody loves everybody. Nobody gets mad. God bless you. That's your family. Most families have a little bit of crazy mixed in there somewhere. And with this Mars and Cancer coming out, we can find ourselves saying things, reacting in the moment. They're like, oh, God, I shouldn't have said that. Or, well, I wanted to let them know, but I said it wrong. You're going to have to watch your temper, is the nice way to say it. Something may come flying out of your mouth that you didn't even realize you were still holding a grudge about. All that old sibling stuff. And you got the pony that Christmas and I got socks. You know, we're still holding on to that. and
Yeah.
it comes out. Use it to heal. Use it to let go of this. You
Hmm.
can't just spill anger all over the family and not expect a consequence. If those things are coming up, it means look at it, address it, talk about it, but on your terms in a rational way. Don't let it own you. Don't let it start to take you over. It's actually a good time for working with any kind of family members, both your nuclear family, your extended family, on a project, work on something together. When my sister and I were just in New York, she went to Ellis Island. She's into genealogy, and we were working on it together a little, her more than me, but we were working on it together a little bit. It's a good time to travel with family, take a trip, plan a family vacation. You may come back going, okay, never again, never again. We're not doing that anymore. But it's sort of like we love our family, we can't stand them, it's kind of that, okay, I love you better at a distance kind of thing. It's going to be here for September and for October. So Mars typically moves off about every 6 weeks, goes into a new sign. It's not doing that now. Now, what date is it moving in there? I think it moves in there on the 4th. On September 4th, it's going to move into Cancer. It's going to stay there for the rest of September and October, and then it's going to leave. But the interesting thing about this is next year in January through April, Mars is going to go back into Cancer, and it's going to stay there for 4 months. So pay attention to the continuity. Things that you're doing now in September and October may come to fruition and fulfillment sometime in those 4 months. Maybe you start to remodel something and you have to stop, and then you finish it next year. Or maybe you start to plan a trip in September, October that you actually take sometime between January and April. There's next year is going to build on what you start this year. So be aware of that. This is very emotional. Cancer, I'm a Cancer, so I could say this. They are weepy, they are emotional, they are sensitive. So we're going to be more sensitive, not only in our own emotions, where our feelings may get hurt more easily, but to other people's emotions. You're going to have to start to pay attention. Is this me, or is this somebody else's feeling that I'm carrying?
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. We're more intuitive, we're more aware, we're more psychic, and we start to pick up bits and pieces from other people. And we don't always realize that feeling's not ours, that's somebody else's.
For sure, for sure. And I I definitely feel a huge difference between the summer energy that we're getting ready to close at the end of August, and then the energy of September, October, November, December, January. And then those months, even the colors of them inside of my head look heavier compared to the lightness of summer. And so one thing that, I've noticed with some people's personality types, A-type personalities, their beginnings aren't really in January. They're in September, more with the academic year. And so it's almost like, okay, getting back into focus, getting back into, training themselves in whatever way, whether it's school or getting back in the school schedule with the kids. It does feel like there's going to be that switch over again, where it's like our playtime is over. Okay, back to the grind now. So I do feel that there's going to be, it's going to be a great time to, how do I explain this? Um, it's going to be a great time to get back into schedule with things, whether it's, taking care of your body, body, mind, soul, joining back into that yoga class or that meditation class or that school schedule. It just feels like, okay, guys, now it's time to get back to the study. The other thing that I feel like when I look at, the energy of politics, for example, it feels like we're going to have a lot more thrown at us come fall, a lot more shocking information coming out, or it's almost like one day our reality is one way and then the next day it's changed. So just be careful what narratives we're feeding into. I heard that they're now bringing up this monkeypox thing, and it's like, okay, guys, we got to give that a rest. So just be careful what we're feeding into with our fear again. Um, if there is, that dominating energy of fear that's being pumped out, turn it off. You're in control of your reality. You're in control of what's in front of you. And I think that these fall months that are coming up, September is getting back into the grind of things. But October and November and December on that personal scale feels like, okay, it's time to self reflect, go within. The summer months feel like this, right? But as I get into the September, October, November, it feels like going within, cocooning. You know what I mean? Getting that cozy feel, staying at home on a Saturday night instead of being around a pile of people. I went, speaking of that, I went to the Royal Albert Concert Hall yesterday, and beautiful box tickets to go listen to Bach Prom 40, I believe it was called. St. John's Passion is what it was called. It was absolutely beautiful. But I haven't been in a crowd that big in a while. So it was like I had to duck outside to breathe, come back in, duck outside to breathe, and come back in. So I don't know, it just feels like the energy of everything is on the rise. So if you feel a little claustrophobic being out in public or being around big groups, it's everything is being amplified, and it just feels like energy is getting louder. Does that
That's
make
a good way
any
to put it.
sense?
That's a good way to put it, getting louder. And
Mhm.
people who are sensitive, which is probably most of the people watching this podcast, you react to it first.
Yeah.
You're sort of like the canary in the cage.
Mhm.
And you're like, do you feel that? And they're like, no, like they're looking at you like you're crazy. But when you're sensitive, you're
Mhm.
picking it up and you often don't know what you're picking up. You just know something feels different. Now, one of the other things I'm going to mention astrologically is that right at the beginning of the month of September, on the second, I think the second day of the month, Pluto is going to retrograde back into Capricorn. Retrograde just means it goes backwards instead of forward. It just looks like it's going backwards. All these months, Pluto has been Aquarius, which is forward thinking, it's progressive, it's, light workers, very new age kind of stuff. But Capricorn, much more rigid. When you talked about the rigidity, when you talked about the getting down to a schedule, that's Capricorn. What's the plan? Step one, step two. Capricorn's a bit more black and white. Aquarius is like, oh, let's look at the future. It's wonderful. Capricorn's like, all right, what's this is going to cost? Who's in charge of this? So we sort of hit the ground with a thud. Who's in charge of cleanup on this? So it's easy to get discouraged when it goes back into Capricorn because we start to see what it's going to take to make this happen. Oh, I'll never be able to save up the money for college or save the money for a house, or I'll never be able to do these things. We start to see the obstacles instead of the end goal. On
Mm.
the other hand, Capricorn helps us put together a plan to make it happen. We're not just, oh, love and light, and it'll flow to me. Capricorn says, okay, I have to make a little effort here. What am I going to do to help this along? So it's a little bit of a seesaw back and forth. Nationally, politically, for a lot of nations, not just Canada or the US, we're going to see more authoritative leaders.
Yes,
So
I
I know
agree.
Trudeau is not very popular in Canada, so
Mhm.
you may see even more authoritative policies come from him. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, no one has still heard from the guy.
Really?
I'm telling you, something's up, something's up, something's up. So if he doesn't come back, it's because of what happened in June. No
Wow.
one's heard from him. He's still in hiding.
That's a long
Yeah,
time to be in hiding.
it is. It is. And like I said in my uh I think it was last month's video, I pointed out, like, why did they end Parliament 3 weeks early, right? Something's up. They ended Parliament right after he lost that by-election. So I don't know. I think he's personally hiding out from his caucus, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
And that's exactly what this Capricorn energy is going to do. I think you're going to see more from Trudeau in September, October, and part of November, simply because this energy seems to resonate with him. He seems more of that authoritative, singular power source, which is me kind of thing. In the United States, we've got our own stuff going on with this, and a conflict between Trump and Harris is looked at as progressive and forward thinking, and Trump is looked at as more authoritative and traditional. So it's going like this.
Mhm.
Something, Trump's energy doesn't feel safe to me. And I have felt that for a while. And when there was that assassination attempt on him, I thought, okay, that's what I've been feeling, that he wasn't safe, that something was going to happen. But it hasn't gone away. I've expected it to go away, but it hasn't gone away.
It's interesting you
So
say that.
he could use some prayers
Yeah.
because something seems to be around him that doesn't feel safe. And I'm not sure why.
Mhm.
I don't think he's going to be assassinated. I do not think that, but it feels unsettled to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I think there's something that's going to be going on with him in September. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that because I've said it, when people ask me, do you think he'll get back in? And my response is they will do everything to make sure he doesn't get in. They'll do everything and anything to make sure that he doesn't get in. So
So
I hate to say it, but I don't think he will.
I'm not sure, and I've said this before. I know it doesn't make any sense. So don't go out of your way to tell me it doesn't make any sense. I know that. But I have said this all year long. I'm not sure he's on the ticket in November,
Uh,
which in American politics, it's like that's not possible. He's already been nominated
yeah.
by his party. And yet I'm like, what happens if he had a fall and broke a hip?
Mhm.
Would he still be on the ticket? Or would they make the potential vice president running mate that can? I don't know. It feels like something unusual, unprecedented that comes out of the blue, like the assassination attempt, something nobody saw coming. It came out of the blue. That's what this feels like. It doesn't feel as violent though. It just feels surprising.
Mhm.
So September is going to be a big month all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. We have to be careful about what words we use. Like the A word, because apparently we'll get censored, which
Oh,
another insane thing. I don't know if you've heard about what happened in England or not, but a man is serving 20 months in jail for a Facebook post that he did. 20 months in jail. And that was reduced by a third, the judge
is
said.
he promoting violence or something?
He wasn't promoting
What
violence.
did he
Just look it
say?
up because I don't want to repeat anything that could get me
Okay.
censored. But 20 months in jail for a Facebook post. So where is this timeline currently being projected into? What is it going to look like in 10 years from now? Free speech could be a thing of the past. I'm praying not. But, and you know what? Here's the
What?
thing. I do believe, and I know that there is a pile of light workers that are working on shifting timelines because how you shift timelines is by thinking differently. And I mean that because when you have better big aha moments than the authoritative shoving everyone down censorship, when you have amazing ideas, you start creating amazing realities,
Results.
right? Your thoughts become your actions become your reality. You think different, you're going to act different. It's just common sense. So I think we really need to start praying for open hearts and open minds, for the highest timeline to drop into our consciousness so that we can actually bring it into fruition into this world. And if everyone is asking for that and saying, give me my highest timeline, my greatest joy, download it to me, let's go, put me on that timeline, and then sit back and watch it happen. This is where faith comes in as well, right? Asking you shall receive, but have the faith to receive it because you have to be in that mode. So I just think that we got to start asking, for our greatest joy to flow through us and to
Absolutely.
be the difference in this world. And pray for our leaders. Pray that they get downloaded their greatest timeline, because it's it just seems like what they want they get instead of what the people need. You know what I mean?
I
So
pray all the time
it's a, like we need
for
to,
good leadership.
yeah, and it's like we need to pray for divine alignment between the people and the leaders. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it doesn't matter who you like or don't like politically. We all have political opinions.
it's the same bird.
Yeah. One of the best things you can do for yourself, for your own spirit, is to lift up all political parties or candidates or um, um, ideas into the light, to
Mhm.
ask to be guided by the highest, most beautiful picture of the most wonderful future.
Absolutely.
And when we do that with a loving heart, we grow.
Mhm.
We become more attuned to peace, to love, to our highest good. So, yeah, one of the things that I do all the time, I almost like everybody. Everybody I meet, I'm just, oh, they're wonderful. Like I'm pretty open. Every once in a while, I'll come in contact with maybe, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about them kind of thing. And I'll immediately start to pray for them.
Oh,
Because once you start to pray for them, you are healed. You start to see them differently. You're not carrying that in your heart anymore.
very
So,
true.
yes, people who have hurt you, people who have treated you wrong, not saying what they did was right. This is why in spiritual teachings, they talk about forgiveness frees the forgiver. You're free from the pain of what they visited upon you. And one of the first ways you start to find that is through prayer.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be a big thing, it can just be a small, small little sliver of light from your heart,
Yeah.
because that's one of the most powerful things we can do. We are moving in these next 20 years with this Pluto energy in Aquarius into a new world, a new life, a new way of being. And I'm excited about that. And I see that in a very positive way. I see the world coming together more. I see us being more open to different ideas and people who may not look like us or sound like us. And I love that. I don't think it's going to happen as quickly as maybe we all want. We want utopia. We want it now. It's going to take a while. But
Hmm.
I think this is where the world is moving. And that's an exciting idea that we're alive now in these new energies and this new timeline for humanity. Very exciting stuff. I'm also going to mention in September, we have an eclipse. And if you've heard me talk about eclipses before, we have one. We have one in September, one in October. If you've heard me talk about eclipses before, you know that I always refer to them as astrological wormholes. And I do that because an eclipse can take us from one reality to a totally new reality in the blink of an eye.
Hmm.
Wormhole energy. This
Mm.
eclipse is going to be, it's a lunar eclipse in Pisces. And so lunar is about the moon. It's a partial lunar eclipse. And Pisces is all about spirit. It is about our spiritual development. It is not about religion. It is about love. It is about connection to higher energies. Now, you may find that through your religion and your faith, but it's sort of sometimes different faiths and religions can separate us instead of bringing us together. So we want this Pisces energy is about love everybody. We love everybody. We're in spiritual truth with everybody. Our hearts open. It is a beautiful, loving energy. It's very healing. Pisces is all about healing. So think about the issues in your own life that you want to heal. What
Hmm.
do you want to do? Is a physical issue? Is there an illness? Is there an attitude that you want to heal? Pisces energy can help you do that. Do you want to heal the world? Do you want to heal the planet? We're talking about climate crisis and all the rest. Every part of our being, of our life needs some kind of healing. And
Hmm.
this eclipse is going to bring that in. But I'm going to tell you something else about this eclipse. I'm excited about it because I'm looking at it on a psychic level. I'm like, I can't wait, kind of thing. But Neptune and Pisces are energies of escapism.
Oh,
Yeah. This reality, we don't like that. We're going to live in la la land where everybody loves everybody, which is great. But that doesn't always happen. We have the crazy person that cuts us off in traffic and the rude cashier, and we don't always go through our day surrounded by love and light. Pisces wants a utopia, wants a beautiful world, which is great. But how do you escape? When the world is overwhelming and you can't take it anymore, how do you escape? I escape into meditation. I escape into books. I escape into sleep. I am always reading more books about astrology, spiritual development, what I need for this or that class. So when I'm sort of on Susan's time, I might read an Agatha Christie murder mystery. Like, I just want a nice little mystery that doesn't require any mental effort, and the murder is exposed at the end, Great. That's a perfectly healthy escape. Sometimes we have escapes that aren't as healthy.
yes.
Food is a big one. We eat stuff we know onions give us heartburn and we eat it anyway because we love them. Onion pizza or something. Gambling, spending money, going shopping, doing a little retail therapy because we just want to get out of the house. Of course, the alcohol or drugs or, there's lots of ways that we can escape that aren't as healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So look at what you do to feed yourself. What do you do to support yourself? Where's your self-care? Because this eclipse is going to ask us to take care of ourselves, to love ourselves, as well as everybody else. So I'm excited about this because I think this can open us up to new levels spiritually. I think I'm going to do some ceremony work around this eclipse, which I don't usually do, but it can be a powerful time of spiritual messages,
Yeah.
of working with your guides, your angels, lifting up to higher energies. I know you do this literally every day of your life, but a lot of people don't. They just visit it once in a while. This is the time to do this.
Mm-hmm.
September is going to be very powerful energy for that. The eclipse is going to happen on the 18th. Typically, you're going to start to feel the energy up to 3 days ahead of time and 3 days after.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be from the 15th to the 21st. Yeah, is when you're sort of like in that eclipse period. Powerful, powerful time. Healing, spiritual work.
Yeah.
Watch how you escape. Yeah. You can escape into a wonderful time with your spouse. You can escape into love.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be kind of a nice energy?
Well, one thing that I was thinking of, looking at this reality on, I don't know, from a different angle, we have to ask ourselves, okay, so what causes unification? What causes you to go within? So the answers that you're giving right now are what people need to remember when they hit that mark. Because what causes a global unification crisis? Crisis. I look at how, for example, how Canada came together when we were going through the pandemic. You knew who you could count on. It was a beautiful thing how the world kind of united through that time.
Yeah.
You found your people. Well, when we're feeling the energies of needing to go within or seeing the energy like next year where you're saying, I'm excited because I see a unification energy, things like that. I'm like, pause for a second. What would cause that unification? This is the yin and the yang, the dichotomy of the earth timeline that we're in where it's the cause and effect, right? So if we do see unification, we have to ask ourselves what caused it, what created it. Crisis usually causes unification, right? We come together as neighbors, as loved ones. We're there for each other when in a state of crisis. So if you are going through crisis, or just remember what Susan's saying, pull out those tools, meditate, think higher, because I'm telling you, the worst day of your life, it may take you 20 years to see why it has to happen, but I promise you, it's part of the timeline that you pre-wrote. That's why we recognize certain people, we recognize certain places, certain people feel like soul family even though you've never met them before. You know, there's we just got to remember what realm we're in, because there's the good, the bad, the ugly, the all of it. But what matters the most is, do you open your heart in a time of crisis, or is your heart closed? See where you're at, and then you'll clearly be able to see what you need to work on, right?
I'm going to
Don't.
tell you a story. I may have shared this story on this podcast before, so I'm going to apologize if I have already. But years ago, I was living in the state of Georgia, which is about 4 hours away from the state of North Carolina, where my family lives.
Mhm.
And so I would just go back and forth all the time to visit them. And one day, it was like a few days before Thanksgiving, and I'm driving home from work, and the check engine light comes on in my car. And I'm like, oh, crap. Why does everything happen to me? And I'm yelling at my guides, like, I'm just going to ignore this. I need to drive to North Carolina. I can't deal with this now. And I'm just like having a hissy fit. I'm having a spiritual hissy fit. Like, you
Yeah,
can't give me a break. Why? I'm going to write a book one day called Why Does Everything Happen to Me? Because we all think everything happens to me, right?
totally.
So I'm just, not being love and light. I'm really being like a 3-year-old with a temper tantrum. And so I suck it up the next day and I take it to the dealership because this could be a big problem and I'm going to show what it is. And they tell me my car is ready and I go to pick it up. And I'm like, Miss Reynolds, we know what the problem is. We fixed the car. It's fine. It's ready to go. It had blah, 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 which I didn't understand anyway. And then he says it cost $2,300 to fix it.
Oh my God.
And I must have looked like I was going to faint, like his voice is
Yeah.
coming from far away. And he's like, Miss Reynolds, it's okay, it's under warranty, it's under warranty, like it's getting through
Oh
to my
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 God.
my foggy state. And it turned out that I had 49,500 miles on my car,
Hmm.
and the warranty ran out at 50,000 miles. So if I had driven to North Carolina,
Yeah.
it would have been out of warranty and
Wow.
I would have been on the hook for this repair.
Yeah.
And I was driving home and I had to very shamefacedly apologize to my guide. Sorry, you were right. I was wrong. You're watching out for me. I'm sorry. But it was such a glaring example to me of how we're looking at things as a big problem. And why is my life, messed up like this? And I just want everything to flow along, where
Mhm.
things that we think are the worst thing that could happen are sometimes the best thing.
Yeah.
We
100%.
don't realize it at the time. I noticed this one because I realized it in real time. Many times we don't realize it.
Well, and
Yeah.
you know what? You know what else I've seen, and like I've got quite the downloads explained to me while I've been here. And one thing that Spirit showed me is sometimes we are the active ingredient in someone else's, exactly what they need to be the catalyst to change their life, right? So bad things can happen to us, but later on it can be the positive, right? But bad things can also happen to us, so that it changed the life of someone else, and you're just stepping in for that moment in time to be that catalyst and to sign up and go, okay, I'll be that actor that plays the part, that gets really hurt, so that that person can learn compassion and love on a different level, or forgiveness, whatever it is. We've signed
Okay.
up to be a part in all of each other's lives. And had anything been different, it just blows my mind when it comes to the whole ancestry thing too. It shows me how everything is so intricately woven. You know, I just think to myself, had one great 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 grandmother decided not to have children, so many years ago, 400 years ago, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? It blows my mind how decisions create the reality that we're in. So if we can ask to merge with the highest divine set of decisions that we can bring into our timeline, so that we can exude the change. That's the difference. We are the change. We are the living embodiment of what this world needs, right? And it's it'll change your behavior when it changes your thoughts. And that's how we shift timelines in this reality. So we just got to sit back and ride the waves, even when it hurts. We have to sit back and understand that you may not figure out why in this life. There may not be an explanation on earth, but there will be one in heaven when you get to that heavenly place and sit down with God and go, "Oh my Lord, what a ride. Why did you
What
do
a
this?
ride.
Why did you sign me up for that?" And he's going to turn around and go, "My dear, don't you remember you signed up for that?"
And I agree 100%. When we love somebody, we want the best for them. And so we volunteer. I'm going to take this on so that they can grow because I love them and want the best for them. But we don't remember that when we're going through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I was watching this television show once where it was a family, mother, father, couple of kids, and the son was in some sort of accident and it looked like he was going to need a new heart.
Wow.
And so the mother said, "Can you give him mine?" And the doctor was like, "No." And they were talking about that's love. That's like a parent's love will just say, "I'll give my heart to my child so they can live. I don't care." They'll just survive anything and surpass anything because they love so deeply.
Hmm.
And we choose many of the things we take on because we love that person so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes I wish we could remember a little bit more, but it's usually
I know.
us feeling very brave on the other side before we come into a body and then go, "Wait a minute. I need show me the fine print on this. I don't remember signing up for this."
Well, I think that if the more we ask for access to our information, the more our spirit guides and our angels will give us little glimpses or greater
Yeah.
understandings. I think people really need to get into the habit of daily communication with their guides and their angels
Oh,
and
yeah.
the big guy himself. There is something greater than us, so much greater than us, that will talk back to you if you start asking. So get into the habit of opening up those lines of communication, because I promise you that's where the greatest divine ideas come from. It's not you. There is something dropping it in, merging with your field. And that is another key word that I want to say to all light workers who understand what I'm talking about. Ask the highest guardian angel to merge their protection into your field, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it come down like a cocoon of light. Same thing with information. You can ask for it to be activated within your cells, but you can also ask for your spirit guides to merge the information that they know that's available to you at this time into your field, into your body, to awaken what is dormant. So there's many different ways that we can kind of activate things around us through meditation or through simply asking. Just when you get in the car in the morning, you're driving on the way to work, turn off the radio, start talking out loud to your guides and your angels, and listen for that bounce back voice that talks back to you. I promise you there will be something answering you, and it's going to sound like you talking to you. But this is how I find missing people. So I know it's not just me having a neurotic thought where I'm just talking to myself. No, it's led me literally to finding 35 missing people. So there's something about that voice that knows greater than me. Makes
I will
sense?
say I've done exactly what you're talking about doing. And one day I was driving to work when I worked in corporate America, and I was merging into traffic and trying to get on the interstate. And I heard a voice in the seat next to me talking, saying things to me. Only there wasn't anybody there physically. And I'm trying to drive and merge, and I'm like, not a good time, not a good time, pick another time. So spirit has their own timeline, and
Mhm.
we can't always make it happen the way we want to happen. But if you consistently ask, you will get an answer.
Yeah.
One of the highest things we can say in prayer or ask for in prayer is understanding. Because when we are given understanding, we see a situation from a different viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If maybe we have a problem with somebody at work, like, "Oh, they're so cheap and they're such a penny pincher and we don't like them very much," kind of thing. And we pray for understanding. And one day they just start to share their childhood of poverty and how they're afraid of being poor. And they save their money and look at the bottom line. And their behavior may not have changed, but because now you have understanding,
Yes.
your behavior and attitude has changed. And you can be more compassionate and
Yeah.
patient because now you're looking at it from a different viewpoint.
Mhm.
That's why praying for understanding is so powerful.
Totally. Totally. What a powerful, powerful message. Thank you for that, Susan. That's a good one. 100%.
Yeah.
Um, I just kind of noticed the time.
Oh my.
I know. Again, did you see how fast that went? Did you see? It's insane. So, I'm just trying to think what else. What else? What else? What else? Okay. Uh, what else we need to say about September? The only other
I'm
thing,
going to say, hold on to your temper,
yeah,
stay grounded. The things that Patricia and I are always talking to you about, surround yourself in prayer, surround yourself in light. Use these energies on your terms
yeah,
instead of letting them push you around. We have free will. When we understand what's going on, we can use them differently.
yeah. And with that being said, September, ask for that understanding for September because it's definitely got a different energy than the summer months does. I can see a little bit of a split there. And it feels like it happens around August 30th. Is there 31 days in August there? Isn't there? There's 31 days in August.
Yeah, I think there is.
For some reason, I can feel the energy kind of split off right around the 30th. So, and I think that I don't know if that's because that's when people get back into their routine is September 1st. But there's a revival, almost like a fresh new start energy that's happening in September that I feel coming in. So maybe that applies to a lot of people who have kids. It's the beginning of the new school year. But one thing, like I was saying earlier, that people who are the academic minds, they naturally go into restart mode in September. They learn a lot. So, or I mean, they not just learn a lot, sorry, they flip over and start new things come September. It's a brand new year for them, not just January 1st. So,
Love it. Love that.
yeah. Yeah. So enjoy, you guys. Enjoy the September. It feels good. It feels packed. It feels fun, but it also feels very fast. So try and get some rest in between. And yeah, like Susan said, hold your cool, hold it down because it's going to be a ride over the fall and going into next year. Like I said at the beginning of this year, this is when the energy starts amping up. This is when things start kind of going like this and drips of the 2025 energy starts coming in the fall. So I expect there to be a narrative change politically worldwide right about now. And I know that they've just dropped that monkeypox word.
I
So I
know.
don't know if they're like trying to get us all to focus on that, but like I was saying, it does feel like this is where the narrative starts going severe again, or like you're hearing, oh, well, it could be this, so we might have to do this, and it's just, don't feed into the energy. Just sit back and watch, observe, and know that you are made for this time, and you will know exactly when you are going to be activated to jump in and do what you can to help humanity. Just wait. The call is sitting there, and I promise you, spirit will you'll hear the call, you'll feel it, and that's when you know you're supposed to jump into action. So be ready, you guys. All the light workers out there, be ready. That's what it feels like. So,
Can't wait to see how the month turns out.
yeah, me too. Me too. Okay, you guys, God bless from London. And
Bye.
Susan, thank you again so much. And before we take off, how can everybody get a hold of you if they'd like to book a reading with you?
You can email me through my website, exploreastrology.com. Whether you want a reading or not, on my website every month at the beginning of the month, I put out free predictions for every sign. So you can just look and see what's going on with you. And then if you want and feel like you need a reading, contact me and we'll go ahead and set something up.
Awesome. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can do so through my website, www.patriciamona.com. I do teach online classes and meditation, psychic development, retreats, all that stuff. So take a look at my website. I'm a multi-purpose tool for spirit. So welcome to the
Multi-talented,
channel.
multi-talented.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the channel, everybody, and thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. God
We'll
bless.
see you next
Thanks
month.
again, Susan.
Bye.
Bye.